everyone.
Hi.
I'm Olivia and this is Carmen. And thanks for joining us. Give us a like or a comment if you're there. I'm really excited to finally be doing this live with you.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. I've never done a live interview before, so it's all new to me.
Wow. So, Carmen, just to introduce you to Carmen. Carmen, you've been very focused and known what you wanted from a very early age, isn't that right? You wanted to be an astronaut. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So when I was young, I decided I wanted to be an astronaut, like many kids. But I always take everything a little bit a step further and take things, do everything I can to try and achieve that goal. And so I started learning Russian. I did everything with my left hand because I learned you had to be ambidextrous. I contacted the first Australian astronaut, and things didn't work out for me. My eyesight ended up not being good enough. But it's just an example of how when I decide I want to do something, I actually throw myself at it.
That's excellent. That's
yeah.
Great. How do you even at that age teach yourself Russian? You went out.
I just said to my parents, I said, Mum and Dad, can you drive me to a Russian school on Saturday? And they just looked at me and go, okay.
Wow. Okay, so then you had to decide what to do next. It must have been rather devastating, actually, to have your dream shut down.
Oh, look, it was okay. I was very interested in science in general, not just space. And so for me, it's very natural just to learn lots about science and, the broader areas of science. And that's what I did. And I went to uni, I did my honours and, so I learned lots about science and I'm a science nerd by heart. Although I have now developed some people skills to go with that analytical skill set as well. So I like to think I'm a bit more rounded now as a person.
So how did you do the switch, or what led you to?
Yeah, so I was working in the lab and I just found it a little bit isolating. You spoke to your colleagues, but, I was working on things that, if something really exciting happened, there's only a handful of people in the world that would really understand it without a day's explanation beforehand. And I just found that quite isolating. So I decided I didn't want to work in the lab. I didn't know what I wanted though, and so I just applied for every single job out there. I got a job within a healthcare organisation. I didn't understand it when they gave it to me. And it was basically a high-level admin position. But within 3 months of being there, I found that I was implementing an enterprise-wide project. So 17,000 staff, 40 sites, vertical learning curve. There were tiers, but it happened, made it happen. So that was just the start of me seeing how powerful you can be if you apply your skill set, analytics and people skills in a really focused way, and you can actually get results.
So that was the start.
That's
what
the start.
Planted it in your mind.
Yeah.
That's where I could go from here.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what?
So I worked within that organisation for over 10 years, implementing projects everywhere where I went, enterprise-wide projects, and also some high-risk, time-dependent projects as well. And I always enjoy implementing things and making things happen, and whereas maintaining things probably isn't my passion, so I designed the project so that they can be sustained, and as soon as my learning curve and the project was being in the maintenance stage, I'd magically be tapped on the shoulder and say, hey, come over and play over here. And so all those projects that I worked on are still being implemented, maintained and continuously improved within that organisation as we speak.
Well, that is exciting, isn't it? To be able to put everything in place that you're not needed anymore.
That's it. That's my goal, make myself redundant.
All right, why don't we get into, how did you end up doing what you do now? Let's get into that.
So I I had worked within the industry, making things happen. I discovered the coaching skills as well, and both those experiences combined gave me the courage to decide to start my own business. So one of the things that I really see a lot of people say is, how they just say, look, I'm really busy, I'm overwhelmed, I'm busy, these people got amazing ideas, but they can't implement it. And that's where I thought, look, I can actually add a lot of value there, because everyone's lives are busy, everyone's got all sorts of commitments and challenges and things like that. But you know what? Everyone's got 24 hours in a day. So it's not about time. It's about energy, focus, and so that's why I developed the strategic action system where we've got 5 steps, and if you implement those, you can achieve amazing things and not have a headache all the time.
So what kind of people do you help? Would it be the business owner, managers? Is it people just lost in their career in general? All of the above?
Look, I this system works for all of the above, but my specialty is working with business owners, because business owners, they've got such an awesome mindset. Like, to get to where they are, they're already very successful, they're already very motivated, they've got big plans, they've got quite a lot of autonomy in making things happen. And so that really excites me, because what that means is that because I just don't want to sit there and have a chat and whatever. I'm interested in results. Like, I want to support them to make things happen. And the people I work with, they're amazing already, so they could implement these things independently, but they know by getting support that it's going to accelerate the rate at which they can implement those things. And if you've got a big plan, like, if you are able to do that sooner rather than later, like, that's pretty valuable.
Well, I think a lot of successful people have said, get the right people around you. Doing what they're best at, or get the right people in is half the battle.
Yeah.
All right, so can we get into the steps then?
Yeah, sure. So the first, we've only got about 20 minutes today, so I'll just go over some of them. I'll go over all of them, but just in part, and there's a lot of detail behind what sits behind them. So the first step is to get really, really clear on what you want. So the general story is, I have a business owner come to me and say, oh, Carmen, I want to grow my business by this much, or I want my revenue to be this much, or whatever. And that's what they come to me about. Within half an hour, even the most hardcore business person, I've got them saying, you know what, yeah, I do want to increase my revenue, but it's actually about my legacy. Or it's about showing my daughter that you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, there's always something deeper on board.
Yeah, or
behind it.
Or it's about, I have taken the easy route the whole way, and for once I want to go outside my comfort zone and show myself and everyone else that I can do it. So it's about tapping in to why you're doing what you're doing. It's that emotion, because to get where you want to go, you're going to have to do hard things. And you need to know deeply why you're doing it so that you can do those hard things.
Yeah, that reminds me of, so I've heard that before, that someone that used to work in fitness, that I actually interviewed, Lisa, and she mentioned that too. People go to her for fitness, I want to lose weight, and then they get to the why, it's so I can be healthy for my kids, so then you find out the deeper reasons.
That's it.
And have a wider, deeper understanding.
And fitness and business go hand in hand. So my running coach said to me, Carmen, how important is this to you, like the running training and the running event? And I said, 10 out of 10. And he looked at me and I said, running in itself isn't important, but I know that the mindset that I'm going to cultivate in training for this event is going to go into every other aspect of my life, including my business. So that's why it's 10 out of 10. So they go hand in hand. Yeah.
Okay, so that. Okay, bring me back to what step are we in then?
So next is step 2. So once you work out.
Okay, your why.
Yeah.
Step 1 is the why.
Yeah. Okay. Get really clear on where you want to go and why. And the second step is to define what that looks like. So, get really clear on what your goal looks like and be really specific and use numbers. Now, if I'm going to generalize here, women are often uncomfortable using numbers or money. But, perhaps you want to grow your business by 10%, and you want to enjoy time with your family on the weekend. Like, what will that look like? Or if you want to build connections with people. Now, because like I said, I'm interested in supporting people to make things happen. So we need to be able to measure and check in to see if we're actually achieving what you set out to achieve. And so that's why I get really specific about, okay, well, how would you know that you're there? So it's about being able to define what success means to you. And it's very individual, because I work with whatever definition of success the client users. And then, we get really specific about how you know that you're there, so that we can then start achieving some of it.
Yeah, well, it's good to know that you've succeeded and that you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, and I think there's something that people don't recognise often enough is how far they've come. So, when you want to do something amazing, like it can take some time, and you just fixate on how far you've got to go, but how about what you've learned and how far you've come? Like that can be pretty amazing. So it's about, when you define what success looks like, it gives you an opportunity to actually stop and think of where you were when you started that definition. What was your starting point? How much have you learned? How much have you achieved? How much progress have you made since you began? So, there is some value in looking and reflecting and acknowledging the past, as well as looking towards the future as well.
That's a good idea, because if you want to get to there, there's all these steps that you're going to go along the way, so maybe they should be, yes, acknowledge those goals that you've met.
That's it. So I'm glad you mentioned the steps, because that's part of the next step. So the thing is, people have this like massive thing they want to achieve, and they get intimidated by this thing, and they don't know how to get to the top. So I use the staircase analogy, so it's quite helpful that you just raised that. So, up the top, you don't know how you're going to get there. It completely freaks you out. And so some people just stop at the freaking out stage and don't do anything. Now, the good news is you don't need to know how to get to the top of the staircase. All you need to do is work out the first step.
That wrong, because I was listening to a podcast with the dinner ladies who started in the garage or whatever, and they were saying that it's ringing bells for me, because they were saying that you can get overwhelmed by thinking, I want to change the world and take over Australia or whatever straight away. Focus on you're here, make that your goal. So that sort of sounds like, is that what you're saying?
Well, in part, I'm happy for you to go, I want to take over the world. That's fine. But acknowledge that even though you don't have a clue how to take over the world yet, that you just start. You just take action. You take the first step. All you need to do. And so what I do, once we go through this first two steps with my clients, where we work out where they want to go, why they want to get there, and what that will look like, then I work with them and go, okay, well, what's the first step? Let's not get overwhelmed by the whole staircase. Let's just work out the first step. Because if you can achieve some growth in the first step, then that's just going to position you to go up that staircase and take over Australia. Or, the universe, whatever you want.
Take over this step, take over. So I'll just have a quick check in case. I'm just going to tap on this and see if I can see any comments. I saw a hello. No, just want to make sure I wasn't missing any in case we have any questions. But hi, Jackie. All right. So from there. So
once you work out what the first step is, the next thing is to take action. So many people have a fantastic idea. They sometimes even know what the first step is. They're like, all right, so I need to call Bob on Tuesday. It's the first step. Then they don't call Bob on Tuesday. So it's about taking action. So, it's about tapping into that first step of why you're going there. Acknowledging the emotions that you're having. Most people feel fear, and most people let the fear stop them. But acknowledge that, those emotions are fine. They're there. They're even appropriate. But you do it anyway. So I was sharing with you that, this is my first live interview. I did my first live ever last year. It's only a couple of minutes, but I was completely freaked out about the whole thing. But I did it because I knew that that's something I needed to do within my development. So, when I support people to work out, well, what exactly are you afraid of? What is stopping you from calling Bob on Tuesday? And once we work through that, then that enables people to actually go and take that action for the first step. So, it's not enough to dream something, you actually have to do stuff.
You have to do the scary stuff.
You have to do the scary stuff, that's it.
Okay. And what have we got next? So
when people work with me, we work out what their first action needs to be, all the first few actions, and then they go away, and then they come back, and I check in with them, how did it go? And so but it's not accountability. I call it beyond accountability. So you may or may not have called Bob, but whatever you did, we can learn from that. So I enable you to be able to really reflect on, well, what went on for you? You know, what can you learn about yourself? Do you have a new goal around this? And so I support people to go forward, no matter what the outcome was from their actions. You know, let's move forward. Let's take the next step. Let's work out what the next step is. And so it's like this continuous improvement. And what I see is just people grow in front of me. You know, the comfort zones, you know, as we were saying, doing a Facebook Live in the past was completely out of my comfort zone. It's now within my comfort zone. And so you see these people grow. So I had this one client who started a business, and she's like, you know, it was a business to customer, and she said, Carmen, I see these people 3 times a week at the dog park, and they don't even know that I have this business. Like, and these were potential clients. She's like, they don't even know. Anyway, within a little while of working with me, she was not only talking to people at the dog park, but she was actually walking into shops and sharing her business with those people. Like, you know, cold calling, like this thing that most people are scared of. She was doing it.
Well, and then really exciting once you pinpoint that and conquer it. Now we've got a question.
Yeah, sure.
From Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Carmen. Let me just tap on this. What is the best strategy to move from a solopreneur to a business with staff? Cheers, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Jeff. So I work on the premise. I work with as a coach. So I work on the premise that the person has the answers themselves, and that I support them to find out their own answers. So I wouldn't consider myself a business advisor, but I would support them to work through that. So if they're having some challenges in any transition, once again, I'll go through the steps of where do you want to go, why do you want to go there, define what success will look like, and then what's your first step? I'm not the expert in your business. What's your first step? And then obviously we learn from that and, you know, do the beyond accountability. So I work in the model that I'm not a business advisor or a mentor, but I'm here to coach and support you because most people have the answers themselves.
It's a bit of counselling, really, it sounds like. And, well, Jeff, he would know everything about the numbers already.
He would. He's the numbers man. So if you need some advice about numbers, and
talk to Jeff.
Go talk to Jeff.
But you would probably have a chat with him, and it's about asking the questions, isn't it?
Yeah. So sometimes with my clients, if they need some particular experience, if they need experience with numbers or digital marketing or whatever, you know, I can connect them with people. So I've developed my network of people who I know and trust to be able to provide really good services. So for example, one of my clients the other day needed a graphic designer to support her with a website. I think they're meeting as we speak. And, you know, that was just a natural thing for me to be able to support her with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the answer is you'd have to have a conversation and find out what, I guess, what would be holding you back from doing it just yet, and he'd find his own answers probably.
Yeah, sure.
With a bit of help.
That's it.
Okay. What step are we up to? Do we have another step?
No, so it's about then repeating that cycle. So it's about the continuous improvement. And so, like I said, you will take steps up the ladder, you will reflect, you will learn about yourself, and, you know, you'll find that a few months into this process, the things that, you know, you couldn't even imagine doing, or the things that, you know, the opportunities or the things they couldn't imagine a few months ago appear. And so that's the magic, you know, being able to support people to have those aha moments and to be able to see possibilities that they never thought were possible before. So I often see people starting with, I want to take over Narry Warren, and then over time it's like, I want to take over the world. And so, you know, people just like blossom through this process. That's really cool.
Okay, now so you've got these 5 steps,
Yep.
and some people may be able to work it out themselves, but for some people, just figuring out the answers to those questions in itself might be overwhelming. What do I want? What is my goal? what strategy should I use, all those sort of things. So that's where I guess someone like you.
Yeah, so I do support people as well, and hot off the press, I'm in the process of developing a blueprint which describes this process as well. So if people do want to be one of the first people to get that blueprint, once it's all finalised, I'm happy for them to reach out to me and I can distribute that to them as well.
Okay, so well, we've worked our way through the 5 steps. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, so I'll just love for people to link with me on LinkedIn, because I share a lot of content on there and really support people to take strategic action and make things happen. So I'd love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn, and then like I said, if you're interested in the blueprint, reach out to me as well. You can message me on LinkedIn or email me at carmen@strategicaction.consulting.
So we'll make sure we put all that in the comments too, and of course you can just contact Carmen directly and just say, hey, can you help me, and jump to something more direct. I'm sure that would be fine too. So unless anyone's got any extra questions or comments, I think we might just thank you for joining us, and thank you, Carmen.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks. Bye.